Hello, YouTube family. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing well. I'm back to read to you some more from my booklet, This Christmas Christian. This is Chapter 4, Santa Claus or Ho Ho Hoax. How many children have asked their parents, what does Santa Claus have to do with the birth of Jesus? Or, my friends say there is no Santa Claus. Is Santa Claus real? Did they get an honest answer? Kids are encouraged to believe in Santa Claus myth, but at some point they always find out that the whole story was never true. They learn that there is no immortal, bearded stout man in a red suit, no reindeer, and no workshop at the North Pole, with busy elves making toys. What they take away from that inevitable discovery is the idea that there are myths associated with their religious beliefs. Christmas, after all, is supposedly a religious festival. The Santa Claus myth is presented to an impressionable young mind as being factually true. And then the child finds out it was never factually true. Parents may even leave fake evidence of the Santa visit, such as an empty milk glass or a half-consumed soft drink. Once a child learns the truth, this introduces the idea that stories involving the supernatural are likely fake, and children do invariably learn that the Santa Claus story is a fabrication, or lie, or even a complicated series of lies. And most learn this at a very early age. David Kyle Johnson, assistant professor of psychology at King's College, Pennsylvania, writes on the Psychology Today website that every child who believes in a real life Santa Claus is a big moment when he or she realizes that it simply is not true. He reports that there are some horrific stories about the big moment, stories that show discovering the truth about Santa is often not without consequences. Everything from the erosion of parental authority and trust to turning a child into an atheist. For example, one boy defended Santa's existence in front of his whole class on the mere basis that his mother wouldn't lie to him, only to read the encyclopedia entry on Santa in front of the whole class and simultaneously discover that she indeed would. When one little girl realized that the reason she didn't always get what she asked Santa for was that he didn't exist, she figured that God's non-existence was the best explanation for why her prayers also went unanswered. I'm not saying that this happens to all kids. I am saying it's a possibility. If you are religious, I doubt it's a possibility you would willingly invite. Of course, if you are an atheist, you might like that the Santa lie does this. Of course, not all children react badly to the big moment, and many, if not most kids are resilient. But doubts and skepticism learned as a child can stay on until adulthood. No, Virginia. On September 21st, 1897, a well-known bit of Christmas lore occurred. An 8-year-old girl named Virginia O'Hanlon wrote the New York Sun newspaper and said, "Dear editor, I am 8 years old. Some of my little friends say there is no Santa Claus. Papa says if you see it in the sun, it's so. Please tell me the truth. Is there a Santa Claus?" She received the famous reply that read in part, "Virginia, your little friends are wrong. Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. Alas, how dreary would be the world if there were no Santa Claus. Not believe in Santa Claus, you might as well not believe in fairies. But Virginia had undoubtedly been taught by her parents to tell the truth, and she had asked the editor, "Please tell me the truth." She was asked whether there is actually a Santa Claus. Do you think that the answer she received was the truth? No, Virginia, it was not the truth. But one day, Virginia undoubtedly discovered the truth about Santa Claus and fairies as well. A child wonders if a magical Santa Claus is a mythical part of the Christmas festivities, then what about the miraculous birth of Jesus? Did angels really announce it? Did the Magi actually come? Was there actually a star above over Bethlehem? Is Jesus really a king? Will the child wonder whether all the miraculous things in the Bible are myths? When they discover the truth about Santa Claus, children are being taught the idea that religious miracles can be myths. A very regrettable feature of the Santa Claus myth is that children are told to believe it on faith. When that faith is lost, as invariably happens, this may create skepticism about faith in religious matters in the future. In truth, Santa Claus is not coming to town, and it is best that children's religious faith, be established in things that are the truth. Jesus said, "Thy word is truth." Old myths. Where did the modern Santa Claus myth come from? According to historians, it developed from a variety of sources over many centuries. In the 4th century AD, there actually was a Greek bishop in Myra, now modern Turkey, named Nicholas, who was declared to be a saint by the Roman Church. The day set aside in his honor as St. Nicholas Day, December 6, gradually became blended with the customs associated with Christ's Mass, Christmas, later in the month. For many generations before they entered the Roman Catholic Church, the Germanic peoples had observed a midwinter festival called Yule, and as a result, many Yuletide traditions were absorbed into Christmas. Rome found it useful to Christianize many of the pagans' former customs in order to make the pagans more amenable to Catholic evangelization. The meaning of the day might be superficially changed, but the actual practice and the time on the solar calendar remained the same. Some of the imagery of Santa Claus that we have today likely originated with the Germanic god Odin, who was said to have a white beard, bring gifts, and ride through the sky. The appearance of Santa Claus, or Father Christmas, whose day is December 25th, owes much to Odin, the old blue-hooded, cloaked, white-beard gift-bringer of the north, who rode the midwinter sky on his 8-footed steed, Sleipnir, visiting his people with gifts. Odin transformed into Father Christmas. Then Santa Claus prospered with St. Nicholas, and the Christ child became a leading player on the Christmas stage. Over the centuries, a variety of sources have influenced the many variations of the Santa Claus mythology. The Encyclopedia Americana notes, on the eve of his festive day, St. Nicholas makes his tour, visiting palace and cottage. When he is gone, the children place receptacles for the gifts which St. Nicholas is expected to let fall down the chimney. The Dutch version of the name was Sinterklaas, which was anglicized in America to Santa Claus. The English version is Father Christmas, which is a common version of the name in many languages, such as Papa Noel in Spanish and Le Père Noël in French. Even the Muslim Turks have their own version of Father Christmas, Noel Baba, Father Noel. But since they are mostly Muslim, he supposedly brings gifts on New Year's Eve. For Turks who profess Christianity, he is said to come on Christmas. The Santa Claus character appears in many cultures with his name translated into many languages. New Santa. The general origin of the name Santa Claus is well understood, but the popular images of today's Santa Claus are quite different from those of the Germanic god Odin, or the 4th century AD Santa, St. Nicholas. Where does the modern image of a portly, laughing elf in a red suit come from? Mainly from 3 sources. "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" was a poem written by Clement Clarke Moore, which was first published December 23, 1823, in the Troy Sentinel newspaper. It established the imagery of a jolly, bearded elf delivering toys to tots from a sleigh pulled through the sky by reindeer. This imagery is somewhat similar to the Germanic god Odin, who gave gifts to children around the time of the winter solstice and sometimes rode on a fanciful 8-footed steer across the sky. This poem became very popular and gave rise to a specific image of St. Nicholas. Later, the words of the poem were given graphic from when the cartoonist Thomas Nast drew a depiction of St. Nicholas in 1881. The famous cartoon showed a smiling, portly, white-bearded man carrying toys for kids, and it caught the public imagination. The image was further involved by the marketing efforts of the Coca-Cola Company, which posted ambiguous images of a jolly, white-bearded man in a Coca-Cola red suit happily holding up the company's product. That commercialized image, or variations of it, is used throughout the Christmas marketing season by retailers and Christmas card makers, and it is the most common image of Santa Claus in the public mind today. Is Santa Claus coming to your town? One could argue that in some mythical sense, he may come as the patron god of retailers. But for the child that asks, please tell the truth, as Virginia O'Hanlon did, The answer is no, he won't come. In fact, and never did. Okay, amen. That was the reading of chapter 4. I hope you liked it. Hope it meant something to you. Please like, share, and subscribe. And until I see you again, God bless you all, and goodbye.